Now, I first met our next guest in Gaza. Now he's in Britain. He's a journalist of note and commentator. Yousef Alhelou joins us now. Yousef, my condolences and the condolences of all of our viewers at the frankly unimaginable agony that people like you from Gaza with families still there must be enduring on an hourly basis as each new atrocity unfolds. Tell us something about how it feels.
Thank you very much, George, for having me. I always like to start by saying that I didn't ask to be Palestinian. I just got lucky. My family survived 200 days of a brutal genocide. Now, people in Gaza, they say, how on earth that the world is allowing this digital genocide to go on for nearly 7 months. This is the first genocide that's being broadcasted by the victims, George, and people have been documenting the moment of their own death. Like the rest of the population, my family, they're still in the north. They experienced starvation. Things are a little bit better now. There is international pressure mounting Israel, especially after it killed 6 international aid workers in northern Gaza. You remember that, and that led to an international outcry. Of course, Gaza is my beloved city. I've been reporting on this genocide from a distance. I'm in touch with my family whenever there's a chance because there is a problem with the telecommunications. I lost my sister and nephews and nieces and scores of my cousins and relatives across the Gaza Strip. Of course, I met you, George, in Gaza. And Gaza is described as the capital of resistance. As a matter of fact, George, Israel hates the Palestinians of Gaza so much because we refuse to vanish. And as you put it very well, that we refuse to go to the museum. And 200 days, the world has been watching this madness, this genocide. And amid international apathy, amid international conspiracy of silence, it's ironic that the world is sending aid to Gaza, and at the same time they are sending bombs to Israel to bomb the starved people in Gaza. Now Israel actually, George, rules by terrorism. It has been terrorizing the Palestinians not only for the past 7 months, but for the past 75 years. Since its very inception, it was raised on committing massacres after massacres, violence, ethnic cleansing, and it has been using Gaza as a testing ground for its advanced weapons and also for the American and German weapons against defenseless civilian population. It has been using Gaza as a scapegoat to scare and terrorize its neighbors. And we know that Israel enjoys a culture of impunity, and this impunity emboldens Israel's crimes. So if the world is allowing Israel to carry on a genocide, then attacking an embassy in Syria or elsewhere is considered minimal. So this is the thing. Israel is allowed to set a dangerous precedent that it can do whatever it wants. It can unleash its military might, kill the children, snipers. They enjoy killing the children in Gaza as if they are watching or playing a video game, attacking the hospitals, attacking the journalists, the paramedics. There is no red lines. Israel is a pariah, rogue state above the international law. It has never been held accountable, and it has been raising Gaza to the ground. They said from the very beginning that they will seek revenge and reduce Gaza to rubble. And my city is being reduced to rubble. I was the last journalist, George, to cover and film the beauty of Gaza, its historical sites, touristic places, although it has been closed for tourism because Gaza is considered the world's largest open-air prison. But my preferred terminology, it's a concentration camp. And this concentration camp has been transformed into an extermination camp. People have nowhere to go. It's like a fishing barrel. Israel drops bombs and people flee here and there, internally displaced multiple times. They don't know where to go. The sea has been blockaded since 1967. Israel controls the sea, the land, the air. It controls what goes in, what goes out. The reconnaissance drones that fly over Gaza for the past 7 months means that people hadn't any proper sleep for the past 7 months. Only they had one night sleep when Iran attacked Israel. That was the only night that people felt that somehow they have a little bit of relief. So as long as this genocide is ongoing, then we will see more Palestinians are being killed and maimed. And this is to do also with the hypocrisy and the double standard policy practiced by the international community. I would like to see my family, be safe. They are split between northern Gaza and southern Gaza. And to leave Gaza is not an easy mission. People have to pay the Egyptians a bribe up to $7,000 per head in order to leave. And this is really annoying that the Palestinians are being extorted. Our suffering is being exploited by different forces in the region. It seems that we are being dehumanized, demonized, and Israel wants any justification to attack the Palestinians because they say that you Palestinians, you have celebrated what happened on the 7th of October, and no one is innocent, and your children are children of darkness, and they will become terrorists one day, kill them all, nuke them. The Israelis, they don't consider us as human beings, and they have been using us as a fuel for their election campaigns. So Netanyahu, he is prolonging this genocide in order to survive, in order to avoid being persecuted and go to jail. And he also lost allies. The U.S. administration divided himself. So it seems that Israel is sending a message to the world that it is against the international law. And it is also sending a message that the Zionist lobby is the one is ruling the White House. So we would like to see an end to this genocide. But for how long it's going to go on, we don't know. We pray that our families will be safe. And we pray that may Allah accept the martyrs, our families, and we would like to see Palestinians gain their freedom. It's not acceptable that in the 21st century people are being starved to death. It's not acceptable that Israel, justifies its attacks by saying that people are being used as human shields. There's so much to talk about, George. But if I would like to summarize what is ongoing in Gaza, it's a genocide like no other. And we Palestinians, we will not vanish again. We will continue to be steadfast and resilient people, and we will continue to inspire the rest of the world. All what we are asking for is liberation and freedom to live with dignity and to be treated as human beings.
Now, you mentioned forces in the region, and you touched on the role of the Egyptian state and its officials in this agony. One place where there has been a great deal of support for the Palestinian people is in Lebanon, where the head of the Israeli military today said Hezbollah is close to being defeated. I've no idea what he means by that, or whether that could conceivably be accurate. Why did he say it, and is it true?
I think Israel will never feel safe as long as it is occupying Palestinian lands and Arab lands. And it is being supported by the U.S. administration. Israel has been trying to drag the feet of the Americans into a regional war by attacking Iran and its proxies in the region, Iraq, Yemen, and Hezbollah. They know that if they are to go into a war with Hezbollah, they will have to bear the consequences, because Hezbollah has been improving its capabilities. And of course, Hezbollah is stronger than the resistance in Gaza. Israel is an arrogant state. They just want to give you the impression that they are able to crush any uprisings here and there. But if this is going to materialize, we don't know. We know that yesterday, a number of rockets and drones, they struck places in Akka, in Jaffa, and we've seen how the settlers, they run for cover to hide in bunkers. I don't think Israel is interested to widen its conflict. It is only sending messages here and there that it is targeting minimal targets, military targets to Hezbollah. And because they don't want to lose the chance of attacking Rafah in the south. That's why they are trying to have a balance. Palestinians, of course, they pin their hopes on the conscious people of the world the freedom loving of the world. And the Palestinians, as a matter of fact, they got relief when Iran intervened, because it was the first time ever the Palestinians saw these rockets land into occupied Palestine since the 1990s, since Saddam sent his rockets to Israel.
I was there actually on the roof of Miss Shawa's very small hotel in Gaza when the Iraqi Scuds were arriving in Tel Aviv. I saw them with my own eyes. The Houthis are the only Arab country, Yemen is the only Arab country that has applied the strictest form of economic sanctions against Israel by interdicting their trade routes. They've cost the Israeli economy very, very dearly, which is why we're all supposed to now hate the Yemenis. What's your attitude to that?
That's why the rest of the Arab world, especially those countries who normalized ties with Israel, are embarrassed to see Yemen, which has been under war for a long time, poor country, that they are rushing to help the Palestinians and to try to stage a war of attrition with Israel. The Palestinians, if you ask them, they lost hope to get any support from the strong Arab countries in the region. Of course, they appreciate the role of Yemen, Iraq, Lebanon. They say, look, the Palestinian cause does not only concern the Palestinians. Al-Aqsa Mosque does not only belong to Palestinians. The holy city of Jerusalem and Quds does not only belong to Palestinian Muslims. The whole Muslim world, the whole Arab Ummah must intervene and help the Palestinians, at least to boost the morale of the Palestinians. When you see some Arab countries, they block the Palestinians from entering their countries and charge Palestinians a huge amount of money in order to escape the genocide. This is a letdown. This is a big disappointment, to be honest.
Now, your family are there. If you were Ukrainian, there would be a special lane for your family, fast track at the airport. Your family would be here with you. What members of your family have you still got in Gaza, and why can't you get them out?
I still got my parents, my siblings, their families. You're talking about maybe 50 members. And I try my best to get them to safety, but it's not possible without having connections in the Egyptian side. And it's not possible to get them out without paying the required fees or bribes. The reason why that we are unable to get them is due to the bureaucracy on part of the British government. I'm British citizen, and we have been lobbying the Home Office, the Foreign Office. We've sent many letters to the Parliament. We did a number of campaigns online, and we haven't got any positive response. It has been negative. They say that the Ukrainian family union scheme was one-off scheme, and things are different. You cannot compare Palestine with Ukraine. Of course, there's hypocrisy. There's double standard policy. British people, they had the chance to sponsor families from Ukraine. Approximately 300,000 Ukrainians were brought to the UK. It's a good thing. It's a noble thing to do, because Britain portrays itself as a sanctuary place to welcome refugees. But when it comes to Palestinians, it's a different story. They say, can you prove that none of them affiliate to Hamas? They say that Israel has the right to defend itself. They don't want to bring Palestinians into the UK because they don't want to put the finger on the Israelis and say they are responsible for their misery. So we are dismayed. We feel that we are abandoned by our government in the UK here, since we are British citizens. We are approximately 300 British passport holders from Gaza. And if this scheme has to be approved by the UK government, our family members wouldn't exceed 5,000 members. Whereas every day, hundreds of people come to the UK illegally. So what I'm trying to say, we are trying to highlight the hypocrisy and the double standard policy. The UK must stop its supplying weapons to Israel. It must exercise its diplomacy in order to, put some sort of pressure on the Israelis and say, look, you cannot do this forever. And we hold Great Britain, full responsibility for our suffering since 1917, when Balfour promised a homeland for the Jews at the expense of the Palestinian people. So Britain must apologize for this historical injustice. They must provide compensation for millions of Palestinians who became refugees in 1948 and in 1967, and it must recognize the Palestinian state, and it must, allow us to bring our families. That's why, we feel that we are neglected, and unfortunately, because we are not white, this is happening to us.
Finally, you're well aware of how Palestine has won the heart of millions of British people, but not, alas, in the main political parties, the Conservatives and Labour, and even as of today, newly, the Liberal Democrats. How does it make you feel when, for example, the exchanges today that I referred to, where Marie Black of the SNP demanded some government action, or even just condemnation of mass graves, to see her disdainfully dismissed, and Israel, the source of all the suffering that you've just described, is called a democracy that is fit to investigate itself. How does that make you feel, the British political class?
I've listened to her speech, and it's good to see and hear some statements by some officials that call on the UK Prime Minister to really feel how the Palestinians feel. We feel the injustice that we have been suffering and going through for the past 7 decades. Unfortunately, when we see the UK Prime Minister pledges over, millions and billions of money to Ukraine a few days ago, whereas the Palestinians who are being starved to death, the treatment is obvious that we don't count in the eyes of the British elite. And that's why so many people, they are not going to vote for even Labour or Conservative. And a number of people, they are going to vote for independent figures, candidates. I might nominate myself, by the way, and I need your support, George, because people, they don't really trust the political elite anymore. When it comes to issues like Palestine, people have been let down. We see millions of British people talk to the streets of London and across the UK, and they have been demanding for ceasefire for 7 months. And the British government does not listen. Why? This is the question. Do they have agenda? When we see Suella Braverman, she continues until this moment to incite against these demonstrations in London, calling them hate marches, and accuse those who are taking part in these marches, including Jews, as anti-Semite. It seems that they split allegiances. Are they working for the Israeli government, or are they working for the British government? This is the question. They must work for the interest of the British people and listen to their demands.
Yeah. We first met when I broke the siege on Gaza with a land convoy. Two of the people on that convoy, John Hurson from Ireland and Dr. Yvonne Ridley from Britain, were on that convoy, and they've just taken to sea out of Turkey on the latest flotilla to try and sail aid into Gaza. The whole audience will wish them well and bon voyage. But we know what happened to the Mavi Marmara, the Turkish ship that sailed to bring in aid to Gaza. It was boarded by Israeli paratroopers, and 10 people were shot dead on the deck of the ship. How do you think this latest flotilla is going to fare?
It's a very important mission to highlight the Israeli siege on post in Gaza. Even though if this flotilla does not reach Gaza, the message has reached Gaza, and the Israelis are already threatening to block this flotilla. I was there in Istanbul a few days ago, and I reported from inside one of those ships. I met many international activists, pro-Palestine supporters, and hopefully they will set sail in the coming day or two. But we know there is a pressure mounting on the organizers to cancel it, a pressure mainly imposed by the Americans on Turkey. But the international activists, they are prepared, and they took a training how to act, how to respond in case the Israeli commando forces descended on the ship, and they are willing to take all the sacrifices. They say that what the Palestinians of Gaza have been subjected to for the past 7 months is nothing compared to what we are going to face. Probably because they are international, aid workers or white people. They might have some immunity. They might have some protection, but we know that the Israelis, they don't respect anybody. They killed international aid workers. They killed British
they're not all white. They're not all white, Yousef. Nelson Mandela's grandson is among them.
Oh, yes.
Thanks for your wisdom. I do hope you get your family out. And if there's anything we can do to help that, please let us know. Yousef
Thank you very much.
Palestinian political commentator and journalist.